Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
What occurs if Hollywood's favorite maverick encounters the most merciless host? The outcome was an unheard-of television event that surprised viewers and the industry buzzing. This evening, we're exploring the startling altercation between Johnny Jimmy, Kimmel, and Depp, which resulted in one of the most contentious talk program events that have recently come to mind. If you believe, remember what happened, and reconsider. The backstory of this spectacular incident shows a different side of Jimmy Kimmel that executives at the network never wanted you to look. Don't forget to sign up for the channel and leave. A remark below using what do you think about who was actually in the This Is Incorrect. The evening began as any. In the Jimmy Kimmel live studio, another Los Angeles. The crowd was humming with excitement as they bided their time for movie star Johnny. Depp will attend this stage. The actor, who is well known for his captivating appearance on TV and conducted in-depth interviews, was present to promote his most recent endeavor, a position that numerous critics have already referred to as a career comeback. However, what ought to have been a typical appearance for promotional purposes swiftly dropped into a far more illuminating the actual character of the hosts of late-night television. Johnny Depp came out to roaring cheers, wearing his trademark, diverse look, politely, greeting the audience as he approached the visitor chair. The first conversation appeared to sufficiently friendly, with Kimmel beginning with demonstrated excitement for Depp's new undertaking. But astute onlookers observed a strange aspect of Kimmel's attitude from the beginning. His grin, never his eyes, were quite close, and there wasn't. His voice had a distinct edge. "Johnny," Kimmel started, "welcome back to the show," bending forward and grinning that seemed more predatory than hospitable. "What, 3 years have passed since you've been on this sofa?" Depp nodded. He settled into his seat thoughtfully. "Yes, I think that's what it's been about. Goodbye, Jimmy. I appreciate you having me." Back. Kimmel, 3 years is a long time. Continued, his tone slightly changing. In 3 years, a lot can happen, can't it? Particularly in your situation. The viewers. There was an awkward edge to the laughing as they saw that the discourse was changing into somewhat controversial ground. Ever the professional, Depp insisted, his poise providing a measured grin. "As they say, life occurs, but I appreciate being here to talk about the labor." This movie was a true work of love for all those concerned. Kimmel appeared uninterested in talking about the film, ignoring Depp's remark with a wave of disdain. "Yes, the film, we'll discuss that. But first, I believe, our viewers would be interested in learning about the, let's say, more vibrant features of your private life." Lately, the Depp's momentary surprise was captured on camera. A glimmer of unease crossed his face prior to his recovery of distinctive serenity. The performer was well known for his reflective, frequently philosophical approach to interviews, infrequently participating in the tabloid-like facets of fame. "I've consistently thought that the work Jimmy, that should speak for itself. The characters, our narratives, that's what really counts." Kimmel's laughter pierced the atmosphere, piercing and contemptuous. "Johnny, hurry up. All of us are pals in this place. You can let go of the intriguing artistic performance, the viewer's desires, the authentic tale." The studio expanded, inconveniently quiet. This wasn't the typical audiences for light-hearted banter had anticipated from late-at-night TV. Something nearly Kimmel was combative in his approach, pushing what appeared to be boundaries intended to elicit rather than amuse yourself. Depp moved around in his chair, but kept his honor intact. "Unfortunately, I don't follow Jimmy exactly. I'm here to talk about the movie, which I'm really proud of. The whole cast and crew. They gave this project their all." "Correct, correct." Kimmel cut him off, his eyes squinting a little. "The movie where you portray an outcast who is misunderstood. Type, would you say, casting?" The collective breathing of the audience might be heard. Kimmel had made a mistake, unwritten rule, and each individual in the studio was aware of it. The cameras moved in order to Depp, who sat for a while in silence, examining Kimmel with a calm eye. "You know, Jimmy," Depp at last replied. His speech was clear but hushed. "I've always valued discussion shows. Hosts provide an environment for sincere dialogue. It's a kind of art, when carried out with deference." The focus on the word respect lingered, although Kimmel either overlooked or purposefully disregarded the veiled reprimand. In relation to Kimmel persisted, consulting art forms, don't exaggeratedly interested in his notes. "Let's discuss some of your additional unpredictable behavior on stage, if you will. I own solid proof that your one production lost millions of dollars due to tardiness." Money. The charge came as a shock. Slap. The unease of the audience was tangible. Many people are now shifting awkwardly in their chairs. This wasn't amusement. It was starting to feel similar to an ambush. Depp's face stayed composed, although a certain fatigue had crept in his eyes. "I've had the good fortune to work with a ton of amazing crews and directors over the course of my work. Film is cooperative, with each set having its own difficulties and rhythm. I honor the process too much to interfere with purposefully. You're rejecting Therports?" Kimmel leaned forward and pressed, with a ferocity that appeared not suitable for what was intended to be an interview for a promotion. "What I am stating, Jimmy, is that maybe we could concentrate on the imaginative elements of the work as opposed to unverified gossip." Depp's tone and response were measured, staying the same in spite of the growing aggressive questioning style. A tensu there was silence for a while, only to be shattered when Kimmel chuckled and looked at the viewers. He won't respond to it. "1. People, let's do something different." The camera captured a quick conversation looks between the producer of Kimmel and the host himself and the side of the stage. They exchanged an unspoken message, but instead of moving toward a safer Kimmel, appeared to double down on the ground. "Let's discuss your connection with compounds over time. Johnny, our viewers want to know how someone can continue to sustain such a, let's say, lively way of life while continuing to operate in a professional capacity." The query crossed one more line, one that even inexperienced Hollywood watchers acknowledged. That unsuitable for an interview on television. Interviews with celebrities worked on specific, informal guidelines, and Kimmel was breaking them one by one on purpose. The temperature in the studio appeared to plummet a number of degrees while Depp looked at Kimmel with a look that was challenging to go through it. The performer had experienced a fair amount of invasive inquiries during his decades-long profession. However, there was something specifically planned regarding Kimmel's strategy that evening. After a time, Depp remarked, "Jimmy," his remarkably stable voice. "I've always thought that a person's personal private troubles are just that. Are there any young folks observing, overcoming their own obstacles? What does it send a message when we administer personal struggles as amusement?" A brief round of applause erupted from the crowd, swiftly quieted by. Kimmel looked at the crowd sharply. The host's face became a little redder, obviously not anticipating a response from Depp with such restraint and elegance. Kimmel said, "Well, isn't that convenient?" replied, tightening his grin, concealed behind care for the young people while ignoring the question completely. "I'm just curious about everyone's thoughts." The audience was panned in by the camera, catching a number of awkward phrases. This wasn't the light-hearted teasing that they had become accustomed to from late television at night. There was an blatant animosity originating from the host, who felt more and more individual. "I had no idea that I was hiding," with a faint edge. Depp answered, "Jimmy," at last, coming into his voice. "I arrived here sincerely to talk about a project that hundreds of gifted individuals worked on years. If you have inquiries concerning my private life, maybe they could have already discussed, so I consented to show up." Kimmel chuckled. "However, there's humor in it. Ratings don't work that way. Johnny, get to work. No one watches to listen. Regarding an Artus movie. They desire the juicy details, the actual stuff. Is that what your target audience desires?" Depp inquired, shifting slightly to speak to the audience straight for the first time. "Or is that, what do you desire?" The query lingered in there, straight and piercing. Numerous people in the audience shifted uneasily, while others nodded in their seats. Concur with Depp's evaluation. It is uncommon to witness a guest challenge Kimmel on his own platform. Additionally, the power dynamics in the EUC space was clearly changing. "Let's take a little break," Kimmel declared. Suddenly, he turned to face the camera with his, "I've put my professional smile back in place." "Johnny, we'll be back soon with more." Depp. When the advertisement break started, there was a flurry of activity. In the studio, Kimmel was surrounded by his producers as cosmetic professionals hurried to fix up both males. Even so, the microphones were away. People in the front rows could observe the heated conversation going on between the host and the visitor. Depp stayed sitting, refusing the water offer from an anxious production worker. Although his stance was easy, his eyes never departed from Kimmel, who was addressed his executive producer with enthusiasm. As soon as the cameras started to roll again, Kimmel seemed to have a refreshed smile. Even still, there was a resolute glitter in his eyes. For an instant, Kimmel appeared too surprised with the genuineness of their action, but the brief relationship swiftly vanished as he moved onward with his plan. "Yes, exactly. Very deep," Kimmel stated with hardly any covert sarcasm. "But let's discuss what people are genuinely interested in. Your extravagant purchasing patterns have been extensively stated. On cannons, 6 million to disperse ashes, islands, and wine. Habit that is more expensive than the average person's residences. Would you mind sharing your thoughts on that?" A noticeable strain that permeated the studio. Kimmel's bandleader even took a worried look at the producer, who was now off camera, standing with an expression of worry. "Jimmy," Depp said. His voice was considerably quieter, so Kimmel had to hear him, softly lean in. "I've been in this field long enough to comprehend how it operates. I am aware of that ratings are driven by controversy. I am aware of that networks strive for fleeting moments, going viral. However, I am also aware that there is a cost to humanity of viewing people's lives as amusement. Rich is coming, from a millionaire who plays—" "Pretend," Kimmel snapped back. "Pretending isn't the point of acting, Depp." Unfazed by the remark, he replied, "It's concerning discovering the truth, even in fictional conditions, anything that appears becoming less common on TV." The statement hit exactly as planned. Anger filled Kimmel's face as he became aware that he was losing command of the entire interview. The viewers, initially unsure of the unique anxiety, was now obviously enthralled with the genuine conversation taking place prior to them. "All right, Johnny," murmured Kimmel, his voice becoming so abrasive that even ordinary spectators would identify as uncommon. "Maybe if you invested as much time as you prepare for interviews, considering the characteristics of reality, we could have a more fruitful dialogue." "I got ready to talk about the film," Depp said plainly. "You were ready, for a completely other reason." The A statement hovered between them, an outright objection to Kimmel's professionalism. The expression of the host dimmed as he became aware that he was being criticized his own performance. "Allow me to be transparent about something," Kimmel remarked, letting off of any appearance of friendship. "This is my show. It has my name on it. He coos the topics we will discuss here." And that, Depp simply said, is specifically the issue with entertainment, isn't it today? The conviction that when you have power, you don't need integrity or respect. Gasps echoed through the spectators. The producer of Kimmel was now making frantic signals from the drawing a finger across his sidelines throat in the common signal to slit the part. But Kimmel, who was now clearly irate, utterly disregarded him. You wish to speak about integrity and respect, Kimmel had raised her voice. Notably, that's a lot, coming from you in light of your past. There was silence in the studio as the words of Kimmel lingered. The band had even halted their customary fills in the backdrop, detecting the unheard-of level of tension on stage. My history, Depp said softly again, nodding, slowly. I have never asserted that I am excellent, Jimmy. The distinction is that I avoid passing judgment on other people when acting as though they were visitors. Kimmel's expression twisted with hardly held back anger. Avoid lecturing me about hospitality. You believe you can come on your show and mine? Depp cut him off. His tone remained composed in spite of the intensification. You've done that 3 times now. Underlined that point. Maybe that's where the issue is. The viewers were totally motionless at this moment, observing anything that is rarely seen on networks TV. Real confrontation without the programmed safety net amusement. What precisely are you inferring? Kimmel insisted that his utterly professional facade forgotten. I'm not making any suggestions, Depp answered. I'm saying straight out that there is a distinction between ambushing someone while conducting an interview, between dialogue and conflict, between amusement and exploitation. Kimmel poked Depp with a finger. You don't have the right to come here and tell how. This is effective. You were invited as a civility. A courtesy? Depp repeated with a melancholy smile. Is that the call we're making? It now. The producer for the host was now on stage whispering, urgently in Kimmel's ear, but he was dismissed by the host, violently. Johnny, you know what? I believe we're done here, Kimmel declared. Suddenly, he turned to face the camera. We'll return immediately following this break, having a visitor that genuinely values the platform that we offer. Depp stayed. He sat, with a serene look, determination as opposed to rage. That is regrettable, Jimmy. I believe the audience was entitled to learn about the movie, and everyone's outstanding efforts engaged. Kimmel shouted out security, abruptly gesturing to Depp. Please, take Mr. Depp off the stage with you. There was a collective gasp from the viewers. There were 2 security officers present. From the wings, obviously uneasy with the assignment they were given. That won't be required, Depp stated, getting up effortlessly out of his chair. He fastened his jacket and spoke to the crowd. Straight. I said I was sorry we couldn't discuss the movie in more detail tonight. Ugh, hope you'll still think about helping. Everyone's amazing, job engaged. Giving the band a small nod with one more. Look at Kimmel. Depp left the stage with honor intact, leaving the host standing by themselves, clearly furious. Play the commercial. Kimmel gave a bark, ripping off his microphone and glaring at the crew. The cameras now kept rolling for longer than necessary by a few seconds. Expressing Kimmel's raw fury as he rushed off in the other direction. Guidance, yelling at his producers, after. The show's return from the lengthy commercial pause, a clearly calm but Kimmel gave a tense prefix. An explanation of the disparities in creativity prior to presenting a hurriedly organized section to occupy the time that remains. However, the damage was completed in a matter of hours. Clips off the altercation permeated social media with a large number of viewers supporting Depp's measured reactions about Kimmel's growing antagonistic actions. The event exposed a side of late-night television that networks had long attempted to hide, the deliberate deception behind the seeming informal discussions, and the egos that frequently fueled the conversations that viewers had been trained to perceive as amiable. Joking. For Depp, the altercation ironically reaffirmed what his supporters had maintained for a long time, that behind the caricature in the tabloids was an insightful artist who resisted being boiled down to clickbait content, even if it means beneficial publicity. Regarding Kimmel, the repercussions was serious and quick. Network executives convened urgent sessions, as sponsors voiced worries about being connected to what many people were phoning an unjustified assault on a visitor who had arrived in good sincerity. What began as entry to increase ratings by instead, the conflict had retreated. The veil of the progressively poisonous characteristics of celebrity culture and the media conglomerate that benefited from it. In maintaining his position with honor, instead of being as aggressive as Kimmel, Depp had unintentionally revealed the flaw lines in a sector that all too frequently confused content with controversy and clash with dialogue. If you came into this tale exposing the actual nature of, hit the subscribe button for entertainment media. Press the button now. The sector doesn't desire these realities behind the scenes revealed, but we're determined to bring the unadulterated truth to you. Leave a comment below with your response. If you were in Johnny, where would you have walked in Depp's shoes? Calmly left, or spoke with Kimmel more directly? Your answers are helpful to us. Recognize the stories that are most important to you.